New from the Fox News Podcast Network.
I'm Emily Campagno, and this is the Fox True Crime Podcast.
And I had nothing to do with her disappearance.
I sit down with the people who lived the nightmares.
I was in shock. I was just devastated.
The investigators who tirelessly worked on the case.
And I really hope that they can catch this guy.
Bringing you closer to the story than you ever thought possible.
Listen and follow now at foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
These are the stories that keep you up at night.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Extra. Hear all about it, read all about it. Extra. Hear and read all about it. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. This is Purple Mafia, episode number 149, special edition, literally hot off the wire right now. The Minnesota Vikings have signed Josh Freeman to a one-year deal. Josh Freeman is coming to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, things get awfully interesting. One-year deal, trial and error. So why would you sign him to a one-year deal just to have him on the bench? Not sure. This is going to be very, very interesting to see where things head. It has been widely reported over the last few years, and especially the last couple weeks and days, that Rick Spielman was and is very high on Josh Freeman, especially going into the draft a few years back when Freeman was taken by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the 17th overall pick in the 2009 draft. Minnesota Vikings, well, maybe they should have looked at him back then because Brett Favre was obviously an older guy at that point in time, and he hadn't even signed with the Vikings yet. But unfortunately, Brad Childress was married to Tavares Jackson. We saw where that turned out. And we've seen where Josh Freeman has turned out over the course of the past few years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lots of debate, lots of happy people, lots of very excited people at this moment, lots of very annoyed people at this moment as well. It's going to be very interesting. Of course, it is Sunday, December the 6th, 2013. This is literally breaking right now as I'm recording it, and I'm going to get this up ASAP after it's recorded. It's going to be pretty short because it's just Josh Freeman and a few of fan reactions on Facebook right now. Would have been nice to get some caller reaction, but you are welcome to call and react to it all you want, because it will be recorded on episode number 150, which will be a game review of the Carolina Panthers coming up, obviously after the game. Probably Monday night will be recorded next week, of course, so literally a week from now, post Carolina Panthers, where the Vikings will hopefully be 2-3, as I had predicted. I believe I'm not going to get into what the prediction was, but I had the Vikings winning by a small margin. I believe 28-24. Yes, 28-24. But yeah, boy, the quarterback controversy is official, and it is a three-way. It's a love triangle with Coach Frazier, Rick Spielman, and all that good stuff. At the quarterback position, you have Josh Freeman now, apparently. You have Christian Ponder, apparently, and you have Matt Castle, who played very well, apparently, on last Sunday. That was it was a nice game for him, of course. Matt Castle, that is, September the 29th in London against the Pittsburgh Steelers. All that good stuff. It was a fun, exciting game for him. Well, it wasn't the most exciting game in the world for me personally. It's like, well, you know. But it was a good game for Matt Castle, got the fans very excited. But now, regardless of if it's a happy excitement or an angry or frustrated or whatever excitement, it's the the fans are excited right now. The energy's high, and that's why I got to get behind the mic no matter what. It's like I told you, it's going to be bye week, so I'm not going to do a show unless there's some big breaking news or something. So, yeah, I lied, right? No, no, obviously there was breaking news. Josh Freeman will be coming to the Vikings for now. We'll see where it goes. Of course, again, as mentioned, this is episode number 149. Yeah. Josh Freeman, where do we go from here? And does this signal the end of Christian Ponder's career with the Vikings? Yes. In my humble opinion, yes. And, of course, the story was first broke by Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, who also is affiliated now very strongly with NBC Sports. Right after the blowout victory of the San Francisco 49ers over the vaunted Houston Texans, who are not going to no Super Bowl. No. And Matt Schaub is the pick six king. Even more than pick six ponder, right? Yeah, after the blowout victory, literally right after the blowout victory for the 49ers, Mike Florio gets behind there, and, he's like, it was literally Josh Freeman to Minnesota. I was like, wait, what? Oh, my God. And it's because the game was such a boring blowout, one-sided, meh, even though I like San Francisco. Much to the chagrin to maybe one or two of my followers. I don't know why. I like them. I don't love them, okay? So chill out. I'm still the Vikings are my team and all that good stuff. But, yeah, right after the blowout victory, it's like you're falling asleep, kind of like, not literally falling asleep, but figuratively falling asleep. And it's just Josh Freeman to Minnesota. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, so I'm a bit wild, wacky right now. Yeah. Mike Florio basically saying Josh Freeman has a new home. Freeman will sign with the Vikings. Yeah. It's just crazy. Freeman will join quarterback depth chart that includes Christian Ponder and Matt Castle, who was victorious. It's going to be really weird. They're saying, it's hard to see Freeman being ready to jump in and play. So, what is the plan here? Did you bring in Josh Freeman just to be a backup and make things exciting? Well, you have Matt Castle already for that. He kind of rejuvenated the veterans and all that good stuff. So, this is very interesting. I got to think they brought in Josh Freeman to potentially be the starter, right? It's very hard to say. The Tampa Bay coach and Josh Freeman, not obviously the relationship blew up. Freeman got his captaincy stripped from him during training camp or during the offseason, but into training camp, refused to be in the team photo, which basically tells you I'm out of here. Freeman did not have a good start to the year, all that good stuff, and here he is now. Eventually was in trade rumors and all that good stuff, or trade possibilities. They'd give him up for a 7th round pick at one point, and then eventually it's just, I guess we have to release him. So Freeman in 3 games this season, a quarterback rating of 59.3, completion percentage 45%, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Obviously, his heart was not with the Tampa Bay Bucs coming into this year. Fumbled twice, lost once. Last year he fumbled 10 times, but only lost 2 of them, which is kind of interesting. Official turnover. Boy, he's got a little fumble history. 37 fumbles officially, but only 13 of them were turnovers. So it's going to be interesting. Is Freeman a long-term backup, a starter, what the hell we just signed him to be interesting and rejuvenate the fan base because only a couple people are listening to Purple Mafia, so now let's get some more listeners just to get people wondering what's going to happen? Yeah, Purple Mafia. I'm sure they're worried about me, or other shows, but we'll see. And yeah, forgive me if I sound a bit wacky and weird right now because it's not like I have a big list of notes here necessarily to talk about Josh Freeman. Yet at the same time, I have what I need, but I'm just saying, forgive me if it seems a bit like I'm bouncing around like crazy because, well, it's just one of those situations we need to get. This is breaking news, and we got to talk about it now. It's not about we got to wait 2 or 3 days to talk about it. No, we're going to talk about it right now, and we will talk about it on the next show. 150, which is a fun milestone, of course, post Carolina Panthers. And, of course, your calls are welcome. Call all you want about Josh Freeman or Castle or Ponder. Know that it's a three-way thing. What happens to McLeod? Bethel Thompson, boy. Are the Vikings going to cut Ponder? Man, this is going to get real interesting, isn't it? Man. Man. And it's crazy considering the way this young man, Josh Freeman, came into the Metrodome, Mall of America Field, all that good stuff last year, and pounded the Vikings. The episode for that one, if you want to check it out, is the title of it on iTunes is Nope. It should still be available because it's not 25 episodes in the past. It's about 10, 15-ish or so. It's Nope, all in caps, because that's what it was like. It's like, Vikings will beat Tampa Bay. They're not that big a deal. It's a home game. Vikings have been playing well, and they got slaughtered by Tampa Bay. Even though Tampa Bay supposedly has this bad pass defense, but Ponder didn't do squat. Freeman came in here and pounded the Vikings. Had a strong season statistically last year. 27 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. But again, those 10 fumbles were a little bit frustrating. His rushing numbers stronger earlier in his career kind of disappeared last year. And it kind of slowly declined into 2011, but he did get 4 rushing touchdowns in 2011. All of his career rushing touchdowns were in 2011, which is a great season by the Vikings. Not. Freeman's career is all over the place, just like I am right now on this show. Starting out his career in 2009, quarterback rating right about 60, but 59.9 in 10 games. Only 55% or under 55% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Really kind of a rough start, but that was a really poor Tampa Bay team for the most part. Not a great team coming in. Not really much going on there. 2010, it's just an awesome, strong season by Josh Freeman. Everybody at that point was like, this young man's going to have a nice, strong career in this league. Got about 3,500 yards, completed almost 62% of his passes, which is decent. Quarterback rating 96. 25 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. All the potential in the world. Here he comes. 364 yards rushing. Played all 16 games. Durable, all that good stuff. Josh Freeman, here we go. I mean, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So just even the thought of him quarterbacking the Vikings in that awful 2010 season would have been a lot of fun, and the Vikings probably would have had a playoff team that year, considering how poorly Favre, Tavares, Jackson, and Favre and Tavares Jackson played during that season, and Joe Webb. Joe Webb was strong. Okay, pardon me, but that was when the Vikings looked like they were going to sneak into the playoffs a little bit. It was kind of funny. Webb was just a rookie then. Isn't that weird? Man, time is short. But Freeman looked really strong that year. And it's just like, But then in 2011, major down year, big drop-off, yardage about the same, completion percentage actually slightly better, which is weird. Quarterback rating way down, about 20 points, down to 74.6. Only 16 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, 5 fumbles lost. Yuck City, 26 turnovers total for Josh Freeman. It was like, what the hell happened there? And then last year, of course, as I mentioned, just a super strong season. Completion percentage down a bit, but 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I already said that, but I'm just saying. Hey, I mean, I really was impressed with him in Mall of America Field last year. Tampa Bay ran all over the Vikings. Freeman played his best game pretty much in that game. Rick Spielman, I was thinking, oh boy, Spielman wants this guy, right? And boy, all the Vikings wish they could have him instead of this stiff Christian Ponder. Well, the Vikings do have him. Unfortunately, though, a very Christian Ponder start to the season for him. Yeah, right about the same, actually. Pretty similar. Maybe not exactly, but it's not even a fact. It's not even the thought of like, oh, wow, Freeman's awesome or Freeman's terrible. It's more of, so what is the plan here? Is there a plan? I don't know. Is there a plan? That's the million-dollar question coming into this week and into following weeks throughout the year, because it is just a one-year deal. It's not like we signed him for 5 years. Did we just sign him for the hell of it to see what happens and maybe we just brought him in for a little trial, see if he's going to look any good in practice, and then just kind of like put him as a backup, and then, well, have a happy trails to you, or what's going on? This is really weird. Though at the same time, as you're going to hear from on Facebook, yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking this in the back of my mind too, that this is probably the best fit for him. Ponder's terrible. Castle's not a long-term answer. He's pretty good. He's got receivers to throw the ball to. It's a new start. Spielman loves him. Got to figure he would have a shot to fit in this offense, though unfortunately it was a different offense in Tampa Bay than it is here. So that is a definite issue. The other issue, though, is like you think of Leslie Frazier is a lot easier coach to get along with than Greg Schiano. Greg Schiano, I got to think, is on his way out of Tampa Bay. I wouldn't be surprised at all. They've really had a hard time. They've really had a hard time in Tampa Bay finding a good replacement for the fired John Gruden, who did deliver them a Super Bowl championship and some strong seasons. They had a little collapse at the end of his last year after an 8-2 start. They ended up missing the playoffs. So it's one of those things. Coaches tend to get fired in that type of situation. That he must have lost the team, I guess, and apparently he did. But Greg Schiano, I can't imagine the team is really all excited about him right now. I mean, it's like, who's their starting quarterback anyway? It's just like, gonna have to fill me in on that one, right? Who? What? Where? Why? When? No, I'm kidding. Man. Greg Schiano and Freeman, though, absolute joke. Tampa Bay is 0-4 already this year. Really rough start for them. They get to play the Philadelphia Eagles next week. Who's their starting quarterback going to be? Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we? Ooh, he's going to be a good one. How about those quarterbacks? Yep, it's going to be Glennon and Dan Orlovsky. I kind of like Orlovsky, former Detroit Lion. Mike Glennon will be the starting quarterback, I guess, of Tampa Bay. I guess. I remember when Tampa Bay took him, I'm like, well, don't they like Freeman? Isn't he the quarterback? I guess not. That was probably a surefire sign that things were headed south for the oft-mentioned Freeman. Yeah, again, forgive me. I'm wacky. I'm weird. I'm tired. I actually just recorded Brave the Wild just now. Don't be afraid to check that one out. Brave the Wild, Minnesota Wild hockey show for you hockey fans out there. Also, there's a Twitter account for Purple Mafia at Purple Mafia Show. And, of course, the Facebook page, facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Gonna get to the comments that have been posted so far. The reaction, the fan reaction, which it's picking up. Malcolm out of Oakview. Yep, that's the same Malcolm. Malcolm McSween says, I just yelled out loud for some reason. I'm kind of excited. Nick Lund asking if it's legit or is the offer still floating. Oh, it's legit. And then Justin Mayer Henry said he called it when the Bucs benched him. Should have put money on it if anyone would have taken the bet. Yeah, that's a good one, Justin. Yep. Yeah, he says he can't wait to go into work this morning. Can't wait to see the look on their faces. I told them this was going to happen weeks ago. Justin also saying he just started listening to Pro Mafia a few weeks ago. His brother told him about the show. So that must be Josh Mayer Henry right there. So, yeah, very cool. I remember I gave Josh a gold star, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. So, cool. Thank you, Josh, thank you very much for passing it on to Justin here, your brother. So, very cool. I encourage all you listeners to pass on, about the show. Pass on the show to someone, and it's very helpful. I do appreciate it. And those of you out there, don't forget to rate this show on iTunes. If you do like it, do go on to iTunes, give it a positive rating, join the Facebook page, all that good stuff. You're all welcome. Very cool to have those of you on board. And don't forget, again, one more time, to call into the phone lines, 209-736-7877. Yes, sir. Mention which show you're calling into, which is Purple Mafia. Yes, sir. So, yeah, where do we go from here? It's a quarterback triangle. We shouldn't even call it a love triangle. That just sounds weird. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Freeman? Is it going to be Castle? Or is it going to be Ponder? Well, we already had Castle Ponder, but it's probably not going to be Freeman going into Carolina, though. That's a safe bet. My money will be on Matt Castle. So speaking of calling it and putting money down, my Monopoly money is on Matt Castle. Christian Ponder, well, they were talking about that his rib may be healed by then, that he'll be out of danger because the possibility of that cracked part of the rib being super close to his heart. That's kind of scary and dangerous. So, and yes, I do believe it's real, though it was like a very convenient excuse, like, yes, cool, we get to bench him. Yes, we get to bench him. Thank God we get to bench this guy. And the Vikings go out and win, and Adrian Peterson was asked, do you guys now know who your starting quarterback is? And Adrian Peterson basically smiled at the media member and said, what do you think? So, yeah, Adrian Peterson is in favor of Matt Castle as the starting quarterback. Read between the lines there. It doesn't take a 6-year degree in journalism to figure that out. No, it really doesn't. It doesn't. It's just read between the lines there. That's an easy one. Other members of the team also very confident in Matt Castle. Like I mentioned on the previous show, that Greg Jennings, I keep trying to call him Brandon Jennings, because of NBA and Timberwolves explosion, the other show I do, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's constantly in my head. Oh, it's just creeping into my subconscious here. Sorry about that. I'm excited though, partially because it's intriguing. It's an intrigue thing. What's going to happen now? And will Freeman be acclimated to this offense, and will he actually start? And what if he's good, folks? That's the exciting part about this. What if he's good? Anthony, I don't know if he's listening or not. I don't know if he listens anymore. I've been wondering about it. He told me he would. But, Anthony from L.A., Anthony Batista basically looked pretty pissed off. I saw his Facebook page anyway. I saw him mention, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying this, but he's basically like, just what we need, a third below average quarterback on this roster. WTF. What the flip? Yeah, we'll just pretend it's flip. So that's the way some of the fan base, I'm sure, is approaching this. Not everybody's high on Josh Freeman. I liked what I saw, at least last year against the Vikings and at other times. 2011, he was really freaking good. Or 2010, excuse me. He was really freaking good. 2011, I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah, it was weird, and it was just a bad year for the Bucs. And the Bucs have been one of those funny teams where they're a fringe playoff team, and then they're terrible, and then they're a fringe playoff team, and they're terrible, blah, blah, blah. It's the story of the Bucs ever since John Gruden left, and even in the last few years of John Gruden's career with those Tampa Bay Bucs. They've made some weak hires since then, though. I mean, Raheem Morris, really? He sucked. He was terrible. Like, terrible. And I don't think he was even a bad guy. He's just a lousy coach. And this guy, whatever his name is, Fasciano, all his good stuff. I'm calling him Fasciano. Greg Schiano, that's what it really is. He sucks. He's not going to be the coach of that team after this year. I can't imagine. They're 0-4, and they're not gonna get anywhere. Nah. So, well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Keep posting your fan reaction on that Facebook page, on the Twitter, and don't be afraid to call in. We're going to conclude this. It's just, man, this is fascinating. Where do we go from here, guys? Where do we go from here? I say Matt Castle into Carolina, and after that, all bets are off. So we will be back soon to review the Carolina Panthers, which will be a 28-24 Vikings victory, in my humble opinion.